When you take a look at this plan, what you'll see is we have a fretboard drawn, but it notes that fretboard's frets are not that accurate. We have a fret scale over here which we can measure very, very carefully, one fret to the next, if we were to hold that up against a fretboard. But that's a really difficult way to make a fret scale. And the easiest way to make a fret scale is going to be to turn and use the computer.
So now you're looking at my computer's desktop. I first wrote this simple scaler program that I'm about to show you for my own personal use. Across here you can see our interface on the program. The most important thing on the program is this little box that shows you right across here what fret scale you have. And I can enter anything I want. Let's say I want a guitar with 24.5 inches on the fret scale and 26 frets. There it is, just as quick as you can enter it, calculated for you. We wanted 13.875. And we also want 22 frets for this particular instrument. So I'm going to go ahead and set that in position, and I now have my basic fret scale all calculated for me. I do have a variety of options available when it comes to the printout. If I click on Table, it's just going to print the table that you see right across here in this window. If I click on Template, it's going to print out a template that shows exactly what size everything is, and that's the beauty of this program. As far as I know, this is the only program that calculates a template like this. Now, I can also change the table in several different ways. I can change it by including the distance from the nut, which I prefer, or some people prefer to go from one fret to the next fret. And if you do it from one fret to the next fret, it's going to go ahead and show it there. You can leave it as a decimal output or as a fraction output, whichever you prefer. You can change the precision from low to medium to high. By the way, the math is always high precision. It's just simply the readout that changes. I like to leave it on low precision fractions because that's as precise as most of my rulers are. But that's totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and put it back to decimal, to medium, and let's change it to centimeters. Now, if I do change it to centimeters, it really doesn't change much of anything except for the numbers. It actually goes ahead and multiplies by 2.54 when I press the centimeter toggle, and so the actual distance didn't change a bit, and I can change it back to inches, and it changes back exactly to what I had before. Now, there are a couple more options that you may want to know. Let's get a little room to show them to you. And while you're here, go ahead and notice how similar this fretboard is to what's displayed right across here. And let's hit the additional options button. On this additional options menu, you can see over here we have the option of changing the divisor. Old-time luthiers used 18. I would recommend leaving it at the 17.817 unless you've got a pretty good reason. Over here, you can change from a portrait to a landscape orientation on your printout. Leave it portrait once again unless you've got a good reason. Over here you can change the amount of additional space that's left on your fretboard after the last fret. And it doesn't do much except for enter into the calculation of the length of the fretboard. Let's change it from, it was an 1/8, and I'm going to put it in at a 1/16. I'll close my additional options. Hello again. And let's go ahead and print out our fretboard. When we click the print button, there is something you do need to know about it, and what you need to know is that print button just simply prints to the default printer. So make sure you're hooked up to your default printer. If you need to toggle it to a different printer, set your default printer. That's the way the print button works. I hit the print button, and as simple as that, my fretboard template comes out on the printer.
And this is the printout that we printed out on the computer, and we're going to use this to make our fret scale. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go from this printout to a slotted fretboard over here. And to do that, the first thing we're going to need to do is use a paper cutter. We need to cut off the two separate pieces of this fretboard template. So we're going to make a few quick slices. Now we're going to take and glue these two fretboard templates over our fretboard material. Don't overdo the glue, but just a little tiny bit of Elmer's glue all, and we're going to glue it very nice and carefully right along over the top. Press it into position, and we have to glue the second template onto it as well. Now, the second template's going to be a little bit of a problem. I need to slice it off so you can see that my 17th fret, and this is the one place that you have to be very, very careful that you line everything up accurately on here, is that 17th fret has got to exactly match the end of where that last fret was. Keep everything lined up straight and up and down on the fretboard, glue it into position, and now we need to wait until our glue dries. Now the last step is simply to slot along the lines once your glue is dried.
There are lots of ways to cut the actual fret slots. This way works if you have a good hand, a good eye, and a scroll saw blade the same width as your fret tang. Remove the paper template by sanding.
In the long run, the quality of your slotted fretboard depends on your skill with the saw and what technique you choose to use.
Here's a look at a completed fretboard built exactly the same way, slotting on the lines. Make your slotted fretboards the easy way. This app is available for Windows only and costs under $5. See www.donsplans.com for details.